Husband, are you willing to love your wife like Christ loved the church? Like Christ loved the church. You know what Christ did for the church? He died. Hey guys, hope you're good, hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. So we got a new poof, hence why I'm sitting in this position. Hope you like it. So Ask Adella, if anyone remembers that, is back. It is back, it is back. And I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram, and I got some juicy ones. So I'm gonna read the question and then I'm gonna give you a very straightforward, hopefully, answer. So somebody asked me, I'm 23 and my boyfriend is 26, both done with school, been dating for 2 years. Is it too young to get married? So I personally do believe that there is such thing as too young to get married. However, I think that age is very subjective and very dependent on both where you are in life and also your mental and emotional maturity. So with regards to the question, she's given me 3 things to go off. Their age, she's 23 and 26, the fact that they've both finished school, and the fact that they've been together for 2 years. So given those 3 factors, ceteris paribus.
Formal. With other conditions remaining the same, other things being equal.
Shout out Mr. Beach, my economics teacher, for teaching me that. So given those 3 factors and all other things sort of irrelevant because I don't know them, I would say no, they're not too young to get married because they've been together for 2 years, they're 23, 26, and they have finished school. However, there are other things to take into consideration, and I will explain those now. Firstly, what is the reason? What is the reason?
What was the reason?
Why is it that you want to get married? Is it a positive reason, as in you just reached that stage in your life, you feel like this is the next step you want to take, you love each other, blah, 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 blah? Or is it to negate a negative factor, which I see a lot? So people just want to get away from home. They want to start a life that's away from the one that they currently have, or they're gagging for sex. You're dying for it.
You're dying for it.
Now, not to say that negating negative factors means you shouldn't get married, but it's just something to consider and something to think about. If these negative factors weren't something that you were trying to get away from, would you still want to get married? Something to think about. Secondly, you need to ask yourself, do you really truly understand the true meaning of marriage? Now, I don't know if the person that asked me this is a Christian, but really and truly, marriage was designed by God, so I think the biblical definition is the only definition. So marriage means, they say that when 2 people are married, wives submit to your husband, husband love your wife like Christ loved the church. Can you deep it? You as a woman, are you willing to come under the leadership of your husband? Is it someone that you feel like you're comfortable leading your family, comfortable being accountable under God for the family? That is a big thing. You can't be submitting to no fool. Secondly, husband, are you willing to love your wife like Christ loved the church? That is something we like to overlook a lot of the time. You're like, yeah, I love her. No, no, no. Like Christ loved the church. You know what Christ did for the church? He died. A very gruesome death. Are you willing to have that sort of sacrificial love where you put your wife and your family before your very needs? It's deep. Thirdly, are you mentally and emotionally mature enough for marriage? Now, there's one thing to be mature, and there's another thing to be mature enough for marriage. How do you handle conflict right now? Do you run away from conflict? Because in marriage, there is no running away. You got to talk this thing through. Do you guys have good communication between the 2 of you? What are your main differences? People usually tend or sometimes attract opposites, and are you okay with those differences? Can you live with them for the rest of your life? Another thing, what are some things about him, about her, that you don't particularly like, and can you live with those things for the rest of your life, assuming they never change? Now, they might change, you might both grow, but can you live with them as they are right now, forever and ever? Amen. And finally, can you guys manage in a marriage practically? Now, I personally don't believe that you need to be financially like up there, successful, have reached your career goals and etc. before you get married. Personally, I feel like I've developed more with Keith by my side as my husband than I would have or that I did do before marriage. So I don't necessarily think you have to wait until you've got X amount in the bank or anything like that. But we live in a material world, we live in a practical space, and so you do have to consider those things. For example, you said you just come out of school. Can you even afford to live together alone, or are you currently living off of your parents? Nothing wrong with that, but can you afford rent even if the 2 of you were to move in together? Like I said, you don't have to be rich, but for your current financial situation, put a strain on the marriage. Nothing wrong with being broke, but if you're broke and it's stressing you out and you feel like having someone there that you're now dependent and or responsible for financially, will that add a strain to your marriage, and can you handle that? Are you even ready to talk about your finances? Are you ready to potentially share your finances? Are you ready for, is this person in debt? Can you take on their debt? Are you willing to take on their debt? Etc. Are they good with money? These are all practical things that you need to think about if you haven't already before you say you want to get married. So in conclusion, I don't think you're too young to get married based on what you've told me, but you definitely have to take into consideration other factors. Be honest, 100% honest with yourself. Another thing I'd say is seek wise, impartial counsel from other people. For example, you might talk to your parents and they might be against it because they feel like you're too young. Go to someone who's impartial, who is wise, and maybe who's someone who's in the situation that you are looking to be in, i.e. marriage. I would also advise that the two of you go on a pre-marriage course. A lot of churches run these. I guess you can get one-on-one sessions. I don't know if you live in the UK, but HTB do a really good one. And for Keith and I, it really opened our eyes to things that we hadn't really considered before. It talks a lot about upbringing and how your family raised you and how your family lived their lives, because Keith and I, we've said so many times, are so opposite, and it's to do with the way that our families are, and these kind of things can become an issue in marriage if you haven't addressed them before, and a whole bunch of other factors. So I definitely say do a pre-marriage course. It's not just for engaged couples, it's just for couples who are considering marriage in general. So that could be a good place for you to go, and at the end of it, some people actually then decide, no, we're not ready to get married. So I definitely advise that. And finally, pray about it. You know, what do you think God is saying to you? Be true to yourself and be honest and seek his counsel. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Hope that answered your question and anyone else that might have had a similar question. I'll definitely be doing more of these Ask Adellas. If you have a dilemma, a problem, a question that you would like me to answer on my channel, then you can go on my Instagram at Adella Afadi and DM me your question or your problem. Alternatively, I mean, they will always be anonymous. I'll never say the person's name. However, if you don't even want me to know who you are, that's fine too. You can send me an email at adellaafadi@gmail.com and put Ask Adella in the subject line, and I will then read it and know to answer it in a future video. Let me know what you think of my answer below. If you have any advice for her as well, then feel free to put that down below as usual. Love to have a conversation. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, please, if you like it. Don't forget to click like, because I do sometimes. And yeah, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.